As Aquinas arrives at his school, he begins to ponder on how the universe came to be. He thinks of an argument to prove his existence of God. As he walks past the bin, he notices a Cosmo magazine in it and decides to name his argument the Cosmological argument. As Aquinas walks into school, he notices Ockham sitting on the wall, shaving his legs with a razor.
Shaving is the simplest way of hair removal, like the cosmological argument, which is the simplest explanation for the existence of God.
Therefore, it is the correct explanation.
Aquinas walks into school and into the sixth form block, where he sees some dominoes. He decides that the cosmological argument will be based on the idea of cause and effect. It is therefore based on contingency, as something may or may not happen, as it depends on something else. Aquinas looks around the classroom and he notices that everything he experiences is based on empirical evidence.
My argument must be a posteriori.
As Aquinas makes his journey to his next class, he hears some classical music coming from the opposite classroom. Aquinas first developed the classical version of the cosmological argument. Aquinas walks down the 4 steps on his way to the next class.
My argument will have 4 ways.
Aquinas' first way is the unmoved mover, which is based on motion. He argued that everything in the world is always changing, like the menu of the food in the hall.
Whichever is moved by another. In the universe, anything in motion must have been moved by something else. An external force was applied to it.
Aquinas notices the wood on the Christmas tree and exclaims that the wood has the potential to become hot.
The external force. The fire is the change which makes potentiality to actuality.
Aquinas argues that there must be a prime mover which was itself unmoved. This began the movement or motion of the universe. Aquinas then thinks of his second way to the cosmological argument. He notices the long line of dominoes on the stage and thinks of the uncaused causer. This is similar to the first way, except it is cause rather than movement.
Every effect has cause. There must be a cause for the universe, as it could not have created itself. The uncaused cause must have been God.
Aquinas walks past the exam board and thinks that in school, exams are necessary and contingent, as your grade depends on the revision you do. He links this to his third way contingency and necessary. Matter in the universe is contingent, it does not exist, then it comes into being, and finally it ceases to exist. Aquinas looks at the clock in Cafe 6 and remembers that time is infinite and matter is not. There must have been a point in history in which nothing exists. As a result, a necessary being brought things to exist.
This necessary being is God. Without him, nothing would exist.
As Aquinas walks into Mr. Guthrie's classroom, he notices the habits of excellence on the cupboard. He decides his fourth way will be excellence.
Everything that exists in the world is more or less good, but there is varying degrees of excellence. There cannot be an infinite scale of good. There must be one thing that is better than everything else.
Aquinas notices on the teacher's desk there is an A-star piece of work.
There must be something that we call perfection, such as this piece of work. This is what we understand to be good.
As Aquinas goes to his next class in the science department, he sees Darwin arguing the modern cosmological argument. This gives a scientific theory.
The theory of evolution shows that there is no intelligent designer or necessary being. Evolution shows that we have evolved to aid our survival, the Big Bang Theory causes our existence.
Aquinas walks into a maths room and sees addition signs. The Kalam argument is based on successive addition, which means that God started as the foundation. It argues the idea of creatio ex nihilo, which is the creation of... But what is that? It argues the idea of creatio ex nihilo, which is creation out of nothing.